Hey friends, it's Robin. Welcome back to my channel. Today we are going to do my July TBR. If you haven't seen one of my TBRs before, every single month I pick prompts out of this jar and use these to guide my TBR. I historically was doing 12 prompts, and then earlier this year I downed it to 6 because I wasn't reading, but I read 45 books in June, so I think my reading's back up. So I haven't decided if I'm going to do 10 or 12. We'll figure that out as we go. You will see that there are a couple of pink ones in here. I decided to add some like monthly specific ones each month, and I did them in a different color so that it was easy to pick them back out when they're done. These prompts are actually all from this like bookish first bingo board thing that they do. I just took a couple of them and threw them in here. As always, I have a list here of possibilities. It is once again broken up into sections because that is how my life works. The first section is my July arcs. I only have 4 left. I do technically have like 70 pages left in The X-Files by Jessica Joyce. So this is like already on the TBR. Like I'm not gonna use this as a possibility, but that is technically on my July TBR because I'm not quite done with it. But I only have 4 July arcs left, which is awesome because I had 11 of them going into June. So we may do some progress in June. I have August arcs that I want to get a head start on, rereads and series that I want to continue, my Summerween vlog, my goal vlog, new releases, and then a couple of like extra things that I downloaded like off of KU and things like that. We are going to pick prompts. I'm going to try and not peek and know if I'm getting like a pink or white one. So we'll see if that works out. But the first prompt is going to be this one. It's been a minute since I've used this jar, so I don't remember what all these prompts are. But the first prompt is going to be a Kindle Unlimited book. I think I'm going to start off easy on myself, and I'm going to go with Sugar Coated Kisses by Lady Marie, which is the next book in the Sugared and Spiced series. I'm saying I'm starting off easy because this is a novella and I loved the first 2. I gave them 5 stars, and this one is coming out July 8th. I believe that this one is set at a masquerade and we know who the hero is, but the heroine is like new to this world. I'm excited for it. These are super steamy. They are sugar daddy, sugar baby romances, hence sugared and spiced. Prompt number 2, let's pick this one. If I don't get any of the pinks because they are a different like texture, I will pick some out. This one is a book that was published this year, which is pretty much the majority of these since they're all arcs. I think I'm just going to put one of the July arcs on here right away. It's not published, but it's publishing this year. Close enough. My Game, My Rules. You Had Me at Happy Hour by Timothy Janofsky. This is the next book that I plan to pick up once I finish this audio. Timothy Janofsky wrote New Adult, which I really loved. And this one is following a bartender and a sommelier who are working at the same restaurant, and I think they kind of have like an opposites attract romance. I believe this also has neurodiversity rep. I want to say one of the heroes has OCD and generalized anxiety disorder, if I'm remembering correctly. I'm excited for this. Like I said, I really liked New Adult. I'm excited to pick up another book by him. Prompt number 3. Let's go with this one. That's 2. This one. A book with nature on the cover. For this, I'm going to put one of my rereads on here, partly because I have it physically, so I know for sure it has nature on the cover, and I don't feel like grabbing my laptop and looking up all of these covers. I don't know why my like light blew out there, but hopefully that's better. And that is A Curse of Blood and Stone by K.A. Tucker. This has like flowers and vines and stuff all over it. I am rereading the first 3 books in the series in preparation for the 4th and final book that comes out, I think, right at the beginning of September. I have my fingers crossed that I get an art copy of the final book so I can read it in August, but we'll see. I've pitched this series so many times, I feel like I don't need to talk about it anymore. This is book number 2. It's a portal fantasy. I love this series. I give every single book in the series, 5 stars. I'm excited to have like a reread that I can fall back on. I'm going to pick one of the pink ones because I feel like I'm not going to do it accidentally. I think this is a pink one. Yeah. It's a title that begins with the letter J. I had to laugh because this is one of the hardest letters to fill every single year for my bookish A to Z. And they've had this prompt 2 months in a row because they always do like the letter of the month. And so I literally have one book that can fit this, and that is Jewel Me Twice by Cherish Reed. This is another July art. I believe we are following 2 thieves. It seems very like Mr. and Mrs. Smith. I think it sounds great. I've seen some pretty good reviews and I'm excited to give it a try. I keep picking up these like spy thief type of adventure romances, just hoping that one of them gives me like that feeling, and I haven't had any wins yet. So hopefully this is the winner. Prompt number 5. This one. Prompt number 5 is to read a paranormal. I don't know why, like my brain just like short-circuited. I have a couple of options, but I'm not sure if some of these are actually paranormal because I do have Haunted Ever After by Jen DeLuca as well as Rules for Ghosting by Shelley J. Shore, but I don't know if these are actually paranormal, so instead we're just going to go with A Werewolf's Guide to Seducing a Vampire by Sarah Hawley, which is the 3rd book in her, I think it's Bright Falls series, and this one is obviously a werewolf vampire romance. I don't remember if we've met these characters yet. I'm 90% certain that the werewolf in here is the werewolf that we met in the previous book when they're on their like adventure and they're at the treehouse. I think that's who the werewolf is. I don't remember if we've met the heroine or not. This series was just a really good time. Prompt number 6. I'm trying to go through these semi-quickly, so sorry if it feels like I'm like flying through, but I have so many videos to film today. So a book that is blurbed by an author I love. This is so much easier when I have physical books, but I don't buy books this year. I'm on a book and like book merch buying ban. I'm gonna need to check Amazon. So it took a couple of tries, but I finally found one. Haunted Ever After by Jen DeLuca is blurbed by Ashley Poston, who wrote The 7-Year Slip and The Dead Romantics, which were 2 of my favorite books the year that they came out. So we're gonna go with this. I believe that this is like set like at a vacation town. One of the houses is haunted. In all honesty, I saw Paranormal and this cover and Jen DeLuca and was like, well, obviously I need that. Prompt number 7 is a book with a 1-word title. The only one that I have on here that will fit this is Embers by Claire Kent, which is the next book in her Kindled series. I had wanted to read more of these in June, but it didn't happen. This series takes place in this like post-apocalyptic world where a meteor hit Earth and it caused catastrophic damage and everybody got very sick and society crumbled, and now the majority of the population is dead, and it is all of these like couples that are just trying to survive. And it's great. I love it. Prompt number 8, I think, is where we're at. To continue a series or read a sequel. I think for this one, I'm just going to put Twincerely Yours by Eden Finley on here. First of all, looking at this cover makes me not want to read it. Like, I legitimately hate this cover. I have like a visceral reaction to how much I hate this cover. I don't know what it is, but I really don't like it. This is the 2nd round of the Franklin University, and this is the 3rd or 4th book in the series. They're each written by a different author, and so you can read them in any order, but I have already read the Saxon James one. This is following the twin brother of the Saxon James book, and I believe it is him falling in love with his twin brother's teacher. I'm also going to pick another pink one. I'm just going to grab this one off the bottom here for prompt is this number 9. I knew this was going to happen because I put survival story in here because I had Embers on my list. Instead, I will go with Rise by Claire Kent, which is a sci-fi romance. I believe that this one is following a heroine who is a concubine or like a sex worker or something like that for one of the like big coalition planets, and she is trying to find a way to get out of the situation and like survive and have a good life. And she's trying to find somebody to help her. So we're counting that as a survival story. We will just go with 12. Prompt number 10. Let's go with this one. A book with people on the cover. I think I will put one of the final July arcs in here, and that's the Fiance Dilemma by Elena Armas. This comes out right at the end of July. I think she's like attending some event or a wedding or something like that. The heroine is attending a retirement party for her father and accidentally calls somebody her fiance, and she's been engaged a whole bunch of times and she is trying to make this work. Pretty sure that this is set in the same world as The Long Game, but don't hold me to that. Prompt number 11. This one, maybe? I don't know why I'm so nervous with all of these prompts. This one is, damn it, to read a book that has a title that starts with the letter whatever. I need to grab my laptop. I film on my phone, so I can't do it on my phone. So I'm gonna grab my laptop and we will spin for a letter. Okay, so I have my laptop here and I have a random letter generator, and we are going to generate a random letter, and we get the letter P. Of course, the one that I have like right away is a book that I don't want to talk about because it's a St. Martin's Press release. That is the only book that fits it. So I am going to read that book. I'm trying to not talk about any St. Martin Press titles at all. I actually haven't read any this year, I don't think, but there are two that are on my TBR for the second half of the year because they are favorite authors of mine, and the boycott is not against the authors. It's not to not read their books. It's to not promote anything. I am going to read this book. I'm not going to tell you what it is. I'm sure you can figure it out. It's really unfortunate because this is an author that I want to support. The whole thing is a shit show. So prompt number 12. Last prompt. This one is to read an Achillean romance. For this one, I'm going to go with I'll Have What He's Having by Adib Quran. This is an August arc from Forever. This author, I'm pretty sure he wrote a really popular YA title, but this is his like adult debut, and I believe that this one is following a sommelier as well. One of the heroes is like, he's mistaken for this like big food critic by the sommelier, and the two of them have like a good laugh about it, and they end up getting to know each other. He ends up like inheriting a restaurant or having to take over a restaurant, and the two of them end up having to work together for different reasons. So that is it for the prompts. Really quick, I'm going to go over a couple of other things because unfortunately I did not get a lot of my like required reading onto this TBR. I have one final July arc, which is The Ornithologist's Field Guide to Love by India Holton, which is the start of a new series. Very similar to her Wisteria Society one. This is like a historical fantasy sort of story, and I believe it's going to kind of have that like same humor and stuff in it, but this one is following two rival birders, and I think the bird is like not a real bird. I think it's a fantastical bird. So, and then my Summerween TBR, I didn't get any, like a single one of those books on here. So I have 4 books that I am for sure going to read that week. The Sorceress Comes to Call by T. Kingfisher, which is a dark fantasy Goose Girl retelling. The Blonde Dies First by Joelle Wellington, which is one of my most anticipated books of the year because her debut, Their Vicious Games, was a 5-star favorite. Middle of the Night by Riley Sager, which is his next summer thriller. And then lastly, Love and Other Conspiracies by Mallory Harlow. I needed to get a romance on here somehow because that is obviously what I read. This one is following a heroine who's a producer, and she is helping produce this new web show following this guy who was a podcaster, and he would talk about like cryptids like Bigfoot and Mothman and all of those types of things. And he's terrible on camera. And so she ends up jumping on screen with him, and everyone loves their dynamic. That is kind of it for my July TBR. It's a lot of books, and we didn't even get close to all of the August arcs, so we'll see how the month goes. Like I said, I definitely am back in the reading groove, but I never want to read 45 books in a month again. That was really outrageous. Let me know what you are reading in the month of July. Are you participating in anything? What are some of your like most anticipated reads? Thank you all so much for watching. I will see you in my next video. Bye.